Hey, welcome back. It's been a little while since we've talked about YouTube, so I'm coming out to answer some of your questions and just talk about whatever we feel like talking about today. So I guess we'll start out with, why did you leave for 3 months? Are you alright? Yeah, my last video should be a little bit explanatory on why I've been gone for 3 months. I was basically just like, YouTube is kind of boring right now. I just don't feel like talking about anything. Over the past 3 months, I haven't been completely just disappeared. I still spend every single day on YouTube. I still watch YouTube. I've been running another sort of like secret channel right now, trying to see where that goes. But also just been kind of taking a break from making content. But now we've got, why do you cut your videos so abruptly and without complaining for subs and likes and stuff? And what other YouTuber habits in general you wish were gone? I used to put outros in my videos, where it's just like, alright, well that's all, thanks for watching, go ahead and like and subscribe. I don't like repetition, to put it simply. So if there's anything that I say exactly the same in every single video, I feel like there's no point in really saying it. And a big part of that is your average view duration. So anyone who's made content knows that there's this graph right here, where it will show you exactly where people dropped off. And pretty much any time that you have like an outro, especially if it's like a copy-pasted 20-second outro where you put your end screens, you will see a sharp drop-off in your average view duration. Most people would think like, oh, that's fine that people are clicking off the video at that point because there's nothing left to see. But it kind of drops down the overall average for the video. And then as for like asking for likes and subscribes, YouTube is all kind of a big trade-off between what you're comfortable doing without like cringing at yourself and still making quality stuff that people will be drawn to. If I look back at my old videos and I just saw myself being like, hey, please subscribe and please like my videos, I would kind of just cringe at it, and I just don't want to see myself do that. Sure, I might get a little bit of extra numbers in that, but overall it's a trade-off I'm not really willing to make for the most part. And I guess I'm just not desperate or care enough to do that kind of thing. And what YouTuber habits do I wish were gone? Well, one thing that I wish that especially commentary channels would cut back on is repeating themselves so much to reach like the 10 or 20 minute mark. It's really common. You see a video about a topic, you're like, oh, that seems interesting. And they start talking about it and giving you answers and telling you what's going on. You're like, okay, that's interesting. And then they kind of just like repeat what they just said, but maybe in a different way. And then they just keep repeating it and repeating it. And then you look down, it's like 15 minutes into the video, you're like, you could have made this video 5 minutes long. Why are you still talking? So I've found myself clicking away from videos a lot more often if I feel like they're just repeating the same thing over and over again. Like, let me just make an example, but when people, they just keep talking about the same thing over and over again, and like, I'm just like, come on, just talk about something different. I don't want to just keep hearing the same thing. You get the point, but people just do that for so long. A lot of the time, you'll see them do it just to reach like the 10-minute mark, or now the 8-minute mark. But some channels are still doing it where it's like 15, 20, 25 minutes long. And it's just like, all right, man, you just take a step back and take a look at your content a little bit. Maybe you could cut some of that out. I understand the irony in that answer right there, but that was the point. The YouTube Partner Program. Is there anything different about the YouTube Partner Program lately? I feel like it's a pretty self-explanatory thing. What's kind of interesting is that it's not just them saying like, alright, we can give you some ads. Like, they make it seem like it's an exclusive club when they say, you're in the partner program, you're a YouTube partner. You feel like you're a big deal if you're a partner of YouTube. But once you reach the threshold of 1,000 subscribers and you have the watch time, it's pretty easy that almost everybody gets right in. I have, I think, 3 channels, 3, maybe 4. I can't remember how many channels I have in the partner program, but I've seen it take anywhere from like 2 days to get approved to maybe like a week. Like, usually about 3 or 4 days is the average, I think. If you could be the head of YouTube/Twitch, what would you change and what would you allow and ban? Well, personally, I'm kind of a big advocate of freedom of speech, and I think that almost nothing should be banned. If you're uploading like obvious scams, or if it's illegal content, or if it's like copyrighted stuff that like YouTube is going to get in trouble for, then yeah, take that kind of stuff down. But I really hate that YouTube is becoming more and more just policing what they allow on the platform. Them just banning and deleting stuff that's too offensive. Like, I just think that's kind of ridiculous. I would say bring back Alex Jones, bring back Leafy, bring back Monkey Jones, bring back, most of the people that have been banned over the years. But as far as other things that I would change on the platform, I mean, maybe YouTube knows something that I don't, as for reasons why they won't do this, but for one, I would definitely make sure that every video had a specific rating to it. I mean, they already do, they just hide it from you. So every video already has like a general audience, or a PG-13, or a mature rating, or even there's like an X rating. But for some reason they just hide the rating from users and creators. I think it would be really good if they were much more clear on which videos were made specifically for adults. They already identify which ones are made for kids, and then just have like separate ads for each of them. Because everyone's so afraid to make adult related content, because YouTube is like, oh no, we don't want to put ads on adult content. Whereas you could be watching Comedy Central with like Family Guy and South Park, which is much more vulgar than most things on YouTube, and yet they can get all the ads they want. So it seems really weird that YouTube just wants to throw all content into the same basket and give everyone the same rules. I just think it would be great if they were much more transparent about that kind of thing. Do you have any plans about what kind of videos you're going to post on Imagine If the Internet Was Real? Currently, no. I recently just finished those GeoGuessr streams, and those were kind of fun. I don't know that I'm ever going to get a sizable audience on that channel again. If you only had a number of subscribers of people that were really dedicated fans of your channel, that channel would have like 50 subscribers at this point. I don't think very many people are interested in whatever's going on there. But if I come up with a good idea, I'll jump back into it. It's kind of just open right now. Actualize the demonetization list. I don't know what you mean by that, but I do kind of want to talk about that list right now. Obviously, the whole demonetized word list was one of the main things to kick this channel off. I've still been working on it weekly for the past year and a half now. Ever since I released it, I still go through and retest words, try to update the list, make it look nicer. Something that most of you probably noticed, I did make a community post about it recently. I've kind of changed the way that I show the confirmed demonetized words, because lately with the new YouTube Studio, it's becoming harder and harder to test and get accurate results. Like, I'll change a bunch of videos to words that should be demonetized, and only maybe like half of them will show up yellow. And so I'm just like, some of these results are just so hard to trust at this point. And so what I did is I just added every single word that I've ever seen get demonetized, but then I rank them on like which ones are more likely to demonetize you than others, which has been a pretty successful way of showing it, I would say, because after so many years of working on this list, I have just a lot of personal knowledge of what will demonetize you more likely than others. And so while there are some words that maybe demonetized me one time, like a year ago, that maybe was just a fluke, I'll put that in the possible category. And then there are other words where it's just like, it can get demonetized sometimes, maybe like half the time. Then I'll put that in likely. And then there's the ones where it's just demonetized every time I try it, and that'll be very likely. So the list is much longer, but I feel like it's a lot more timeless. Whereas before it was just like, here are the confirmed words that will demonetize you, and it's only based on my most recent tests. And if my most recent tests were a long time ago, or if there were problems with that test, then those results would be really inaccurate, and it would be hard for people to actually look through the whole green list to tell which ones could cause problems. So I'm just throwing out all of the words that I've seen cause problems in the past, and then just indicate which ones are more likely to be a problem than others. I mean, overall, the whole list is just so that people who get demonetized can be like, alright, which word in my title or in my description is causing problems? Let me look on this list and see if any of those words show up, and then try and swap those words out and see if that fixes it. But anyways, thanks for everybody who's still supported that project. I know I have that Patreon, and I don't really mention the Patreon hardly at all. I don't really promote people to sign up for it, and I don't really show credit to all those people either. So, I mean, I feel kind of bad about it, but I mean, the whole point of the Patreon is just to help me work on the list more, which I still continue to do. I'm not very vocal about it. But now we've got, what are your thoughts on Morgz leaving YouTube? I think it makes sense. He's 19 years old and he's made millions of dollars just by making kids content. I can understand him starting to just getting burnt out on having this over-the-top personality that's clearly fake, just trying to appeal to kids. It would be kind of interesting to see if he turns more into like a Will NE or Memulous kind of channel. I could see him maybe collaborating more with those guys, or like Pyrocynical. There's a lot of really good British commentator YouTubers around, so if he becomes just like the others, I mean, yeah, it seems like it could be good, but I'm sure he'll still stick with a lot of his challenge kind of videos. But that's kind of what I was talking about with the begging for likes and subscriptions. It's just like, sometimes you look at your success and you look at your content and you're like, I mean, yes, I'm getting a lot out of this, but at what cost? You're just like, oh man, I can't bear to watch my own content because of just how ridiculous it is. And I'm sure he feels a bit of that. Which third-party YouTube plugin is actually worth the money paying for? I personally don't pay for any. I know that vidIQ and TubeBuddy are both good. TubeBuddy has been the one that I've used for a long time. Basically, they just give you a little bit more analytics. Actually, when I released the big word list video, TubeBuddy reached out and they're like, hey, we noticed you had a free version of our program, so we're just going to bump you up to the premium one for free for your work on the monetization list. So that was really cool of them, so I guess I could give a shout out to TubeBuddy for that. But for the most part, a lot of the tools are only going to really be useful for those who are just die-hard fans of statistics. Question: thoughts and tips for in-video links and end cards. So this one kind of goes back to what I was saying about the end screens and how, like, if you have an end screen, you might see your average view duration drop right off. They're okay. I don't really mind end screens. I'll use them in some videos. It's especially good if you just put it over an outro. Just be careful that you aren't putting your end screen cards over something important. I've seen that sometimes where you're watching a video and then in the last 20 seconds, then these things pop up and are blocking the screen and you're like, no, I need to see this. So don't be afraid to like shorten that. Like, you can make it anywhere between 5 and 20 seconds long, so don't think that you have to make it the full 20 seconds for people to click on it. I mean, the only people who are seeing that are the ones who've watched all the way from the beginning, and so giving them something else that might be interesting to watch can be good, or just let them find all your stuff in the sidebar. But as for like the little info things that come up on the top corner, you know how it's just like, hey, check out this video. I don't really see the point in that. Like, they're in the middle of watching a video. Why are you recommending them to click off of this to go watch another video? The only time I'll use those little cards is if I'm like referencing another video, and then I'll just link it to that other video. Does putting channels video in a playlist and watching them over and over again add to their watch time? Yes, I'm pretty sure it does. One reason I can confirm that something like that happens is that when you look at your average view duration, I've seen plenty of times where that graph has gone over 100%. So like, you might have parts of the video that has like a 150% watch retention. And that means that, let's say 100% of people watched it past that point, and then like 50% of people went back and watched that part again. So it is very possible for your watch time to go above 100%. And so if you just have a video playing, and if you right click on a video, you can click loop, it'll just keep playing it over and over again. I don't know that every loop counts as a new view, or if it just like doubles the watch time that you contributed to that one view. But either way, watching videos, especially binge watching a channel's videos, is always going to be good for their analytics. How do you find keywords that work best with your video and work best with the algorithm? So this is kind of a complicated subject to get into. For the most part, it's just there are words that people are searching compared to words that are competitive with other things. So there are certain terms that there's a lot of competition. Like, let's say you wanted to upload a video on Minecraft. Now, there's an insanely high search volume for Minecraft because there are just so many people searching Minecraft, but there's also so many people posting videos in the Minecraft genre. And so you're really not likely to get placed high for anyone just searching Minecraft. Really, the perfect sweet spots, which, trust me, are not easy to find, are the ones that people are searching a lot, but there's not a lot of people posting in that category. So basically, if you want to take advantage of the search algorithm, then you basically have to be posting very special stuff that people want to see that nobody else is posting, which is obviously going to be a pretty daunting task. Well, that's all the questions I've got for this one. I pulled it from a community post I put up this weekend, as well as the questions that were left over from a previous video. But yeah, that's pretty much everything. Part of the reason I waited so long to come back and make a video like this is just that I knew that as soon as I make this video, I'm going to have to like come back and start uploading regularly again. I'm not coming back to just upload once and then disappear again. So I do have quite a few videos planned out for maybe the next few weeks. So hopefully we can get through those. But yeah, hopefully you guys enjoyed. I just got this cat tower this weekend and my cat's just been going crazy over it. So It's pretty funny to watch her. And I guess a couple little bonus things I could throw in here, just talking about some of the things I've been doing the last 3 months. So I guess the last video I made was like right around New Year's. So ever since January, let's see, I've been playing a lot of the video game Doom and Doom Eternal. So I beat Doom Eternal on Ultra Nightmare difficulty, so that was a pretty ridiculous task. And then I've been snowboarding a lot. The snowboarding season's been pretty fun. It's about to end, but back in February I was actually snowboarding at this place called Woodward Park City. It's basically just for people who really just love going off big jumps and just training for like X Games or Olympics. And so I was riding the half pipe one day, and I saw this other guy there who was doing pretty well, so I after a few laps, I go up to him and I'm like, "Hey man, you're pretty good. Do you do it competitively?" And he just laughs. He's like, "Sometimes." Turns out I was talking to Shaun White. So I actually got to hang out and talk to Shaun White for a little bit while snowboarding. So anyways, that's been my year so far, and hopefully we can have some more fun with YouTube stuff. I think the first videos I plan to make next, I kind of want to just cover every genre and type of channel. So like, my first video is probably going to be like what it's like to make vlogging content, and like the problems and the pros and the cons and how difficult it is to make and all that kind of thing. So we'll see how that goes.